This might be one of the biggest MMO scams I have seen in the entire genre since Chronicles of Illyria. Now, if you don't know what Chronicles of Illyria is, then you've been living under a rock, because it has been covered extensively by Kira TV over on his channel. But this game in specific, is from Richard Garriott. He's the guy behind Ultima Online, and more recently, Shroud of the Avatar. Shroud of the Avatar is actually an MMO that opened a Kickstarter page years ago. They ended up amassing 22,322 backers and managed to have almost $2 million pledged. Quick shout out to our patrons over on Patreon. This allows you to directly support us if you're interested. Every patron will have their name appear at the beginning of every single YouTube video, and you'll be immortalized in the MMO genre forever. This is from the same guy that cut off a part of his hair to raise money for Shroud of the Avatar. This is from the same guy that was selling his blood to raise money for Shroud of the Avatar. Now, according to an article over on MassivelyOP, Richard Garriott is building a blockchain MMO following the failure of Shroud of the Avatar, and this game was a monumental failure. Like, people think New World was a failure. They have not seen how buggy, how broken, and how few people actually play this game. Richard Garriott is working on a new MMORPG, and yes, it is filled with NFTs. Garriott, who's probably best known to mainstream gamers as a multi-millionaire originator of Ultima Online, and business partner Todd Porter, have announced that the new unnamed MMO is in early production under their new studio, D-Meta, and will wow. They are very evidently trend chasing with this. Clearly, they are trying way too hard to become part of this metaverse, and it shows. Now, the new studio, D-Meta, will share the top-down isometric perspective of the original Ultima Online with a range of adventuring content. Funding for the game will be sourced both from traditional investment as well as an NFT land sale, while acknowledging that crypto games aren't traditionally very good games and that gamers are immensely and justifiably skeptical about them. The duo justify the business model as a way to provide direct value to players, while somehow managing to avoid pay-to-win scenarios. If you're aware that crypto games are bad games by design, if you're aware that crypto games are not received well by players, why is that the business model that you are pursuing? Why are you using that as a terms of accumulating money to fund your game's development? You actively acknowledge that nobody wants this, yet you're still developing your game using this as a foundation. In Ultima Online, when people start buying and selling shops on eBay, we have to go through the trouble of going like, well, how do we feel about it? Do we want to stop it? Because we haven't guaranteed the sale will actually be persistent, and we're not getting anything out of it, Garriott told PC Games. All we get from people trading items is risk and complaints. The blockchain is a way to clarify the economics in a way that is very fair and consistent between the players who are buying, selling, and trading these virtual assets. So they are legalizing item sales for real money trading. This is a bad direction to take their MMO. We note here, for the record, that we were offered a chance to interview Garriott about this new game, but we were told we could not ask about the many outstanding issues and irregularities revolving around Shroud of the Avatar, which are obviously critical when it comes to the credibility of any new Garriott project, so we declined to participate. So they had the opportunity here to interview Richard Garriott himself to acquire knowledge about their upcoming MMO, but they had a few questions that they wanted to ask, specifically concerning some of the issues that were very prevalent in Shroud of the Avatar. He specifically stated he did not want to talk about any of them. The only way MassivelyOP could successfully sit down and talk to this guy was if he controlled the conversation. He directed what questions were and were not allowed, and no, come on. MassivelyOP, you might like them, you might not like them, but at the end of the day, they are journalists, and journalists have this obligation to ask the hard questions. This just comes off really shady to me. For those not aware, Shroud of the Avatar is a Richard Garriott-helmed MMORPG that was heavily funded by gamers by way of a 2013 Kickstarter, weird crowdfunding stunts, frequent donation telethons, whaling packages, and an $800,000 equity crowdfunding investment round. during which Portalarium claimed a valuation of $25 million. However, the game was mired by controversy, layoffs, delays, design issues, and ultimately a tiny player base. I've played Shroud of the Avatar. I played it during its test phases, I played it when it launched, and I saw maybe a grand total of 2-3 people over tens of hours worth of recording. Garriott himself stepped down, the new CEO denied taking over, Portalarium shuttered its office, and then it abruptly folded outright and transferred Shroud of the Avatar to a newly formed indie studio. Through it all, company reps stonewalled and insulted press and dodged legally required SEC filings and accountability to seed investment investors as recently as this very year. Now, regarding the layoffs, it looks like back in June 2018, they made a public statement going on to claim that they are adjusting their team size to better match our current monthly revenue. This will give us the balance we need to begin work on episode 2 while ensuring that we can support the online service. To do that means having, at least for now, a smaller team. Then in March 2019, almost a year later, they went on to make a public announcement that they were actually shutting down their physical office. The reason given for this is that this will free up revenue spent on that physical office space, as well as commute time for actual game development, with Richard Garriott already supposedly working on the game remotely. So in 2018, they downsized. In 2019, they shut down their studio. Then in October 2019, a public statement was made that went on to claim that Shroud of the Avatar was moving from Portalarium over to Catnip. Catnip is another studio, an indie studio actually, that was given rights to not only develop but also publish Shroud of the Avatar. After several years of episode 2 being in development, episode 2 is still being developed. Richard Garriott did go on to state that he is not going away, although as evidenced by the fact that he refuses to even discuss Shroud of the Avatar. We all know that was a lie. Now, concerning the insulting of press, this is actually something that I am genuinely interested in, because developers should never be actively, aggressively attacking people, journalists, reporters that are responsible for creating hype or destroying hype for your game. Now, there was a post made that goes on to state the false negative image the game has outside our community is the biggest dragon we have to slay to expand our user base. I'm working on lots of promotion options to get us in front of more users, but I'm always open to ideas on ways to promote things and get word out on the game. A story with a title that suggests some project is screwing its users, near collapse, or that there is some nefarious and intentionally treacherous activity going on is always going to get clicks, comments, and attention. It's sadly just human nature that everyone loves watching a train wreck. I totally get that, so our challenge is how to get people excited about a game that is released for 70 months in a row, hasn't had any significant downtime, never lost anyone's data or done a rollback, never had a dupe, has a freaking amazing community, all like 7 of you, and just keeps on getting a bit better each month. It's a great story, but a tough sell to get a website to write about it in a positive way. Negative speculation or explosive success, sure, they'll print that all day long, but month after month, moderate success and perseverance, meh, no one will click that. That is not true. People report on New World every week. People report on New World every month. New World has seen a very slow, steady resurgence in popularity over the course of the last month or two, because the game, while it's still in no way a good game at this juncture, getting better. It's getting better at a moderate pace. And while it could still take months, it could still take years before it's an actual full-fledged, worthwhile AAA MMO, people are still covering it. People would cover Shroud of the Avatar in a positive light. They would give it the coverage that it needs if it wasn't, as they stated, a train wreck, which it is. And having the CEO of the developer of the game lash out like this and attack people is only going to provide more fuel for the funeral pyre. Prior to the Shroud of the Avatar debacle, Garriott headed up Tabula Rasa through NCSoft, though of course that game was shuttered after only a year and a half online. Korean press called it a financial disaster. all of the, well, I mean, Shroud of the Avatar is also a financial disaster after having several $1 million invested into it and having really no return on investment whatsoever. All of this is to say that even without the injection of crypto babble into this new game, it is going to be a hard sell for veteran MMORPG players, if we were even the audience to begin with. And then there's an update at the end of the article. It gets wilder. Chris Spears, the developer behind Catnip Games, the guy that actually insulted reporters, that insulted press, which is the outfit that Portalarium transferred Shroud of the Avatar to, says that he is working with Todd Porter and Richard Garriott to help build a strong foundation for a new game. Before anyone else speculates, no, I did not sell Shroud. Nothing will change with Shroud except more awareness, and Shroud development will continue as it has. I can, however, confirm that I am working with Todd Porter and Richard to help build a strong foundation for a new game. This is actually the thing that I have mentioned a number of times on streams that was secret, but that was consuming the bulk of my time. I can't say much except that I'm still heavily involved in Shroud, and that new games take a long time to make, especially when you do them right, and the new game will be done right. Yeah, a crypto game filled with NFTs, an MMO specifically not aimed at MMO players, with the developers, the CEO themselves actively admitting that every game that is built as a crypto game, this game in specific even, is going to suck. You are actually claiming that this game is going to be done right and this game is going to be good. Because that's believable. I'll be able to share more info as Todd and Richard do more reveals, but that is on their schedule, not mine, and again, not impacting Shroud in any way other than raising awareness. Sounds like I might need to do a Friday stream after all. And the comment section is just lit up with people absolutely tearing into Shroud of the Avatar, tearing into Richard Garriott, tearing into this game, NFTs, crypto games, everything you could imagine. Shroud of the Avatar was a financial mess. This game is attempting to jump on the hype that is crypto gaming, that is NFTs, that is the metaverse, trying to establish something that is not going to work, that is going to further make a mockery of Richard Garriott himself, of his company, of yet another company, D-Meta, because Portalarium wasn't already a laughing stock as it was, and is just going to waste more investor money. This is a train wreck. This is a train wreck waiting to happen. This is actually, we're gonna watch this happen in real time, just like we did with Chronicles of Illyria. And as much as I hate to say it, it's actually probably going to be hilarious to watch.